Hello, my dear students. Welcome to my today's online class, first class for the second semester. And here you are studying the second part of non-chordata. In the first part, you might have studied phylum Protozoa till Annelida. Now, in this semester, it is the time to study the next few phyla which belong to invertebrata, and we have to begin with our classes studying the phylum Arthropoda. And as usual, in the first class, we will be studying the general characters of any phylum in the same way. In this class, we will be studying the general characters of phylum Arthropoda and its classification, of course, up to the level of classes. This is the quota for today. This is the quota for us in this today's class. So your program is BSc, subject is zoology, semester 2, and unit 1 deals with Arthropoda. In that, session 1, general characters of phylum Arthropoda and its classification up to classes. Okay? Now, so here you can see few arthropods. You can see millipede, you can see leopards, you can see a crab, you can see a centipede, you can see a king crab, and you can see a dragonfly. These all belong to the phylum Arthropoda. Now, you can see some more insects here, a scorpion, a crab, right? And butterfly and whatnot. So all these animals belong to the phylum Arthropoda, and that is our stuff today. So we will be learning general characters, classification and examples of the phylum Arthropoda. Then, of course, this is me, definitely not an arthropod. Okay, I am Dr. MEERA B K from Maharani Science College, heading the Department of Zoology. Of course, Bengaluru College. Okay. Now, with this familiarization of various arthropods through the picture, we shall study the general characters. Now, Arthropoda is the largest phylum in the entire animal kingdom. I suppose all of you know. It can as well be a 1-mark question. And to date, about 1,13,40,000 different species of arthropods have been found out and given the names as per ICZN rules. And this many number of arthropods have inhabited all possible habitats. Okay, and this many number of arthropods constitutes to about 83% of all the known animal species on the earth. So out of 100%, 83% of the animals belong to the phylum Arthropoda. Okay. Now, so this huge number of species included in this phylum tells you about the success of species included in the Arthropoda. So, they are most successful animals which have survived on this Mother Earth. Okay. Then, as I have shown in my previous slide, arthropod includes spiders, scorpions, prawns, crabs, millipedes, centipedes and many other insects. Spider means jada, scorpion, chelu, prawns, sigdi meenu, crabs, edi, millipede, sahasrapadi, centipede, shatapadi, and insects, kitagalu. Okay. Now, one more thing you have to learn is Arthropoda is basically characterized by heteronomous metamerism. If I am right, you must have studied about metamerism, different types of metamerisms like homonomous and heteronomous metamerism in our previous semester in Unit 1. By now, I think you know what it is, true metamerism. That is the characteristic feature of arthropods. And then, chitinous exoskeleton. Please note, you find exoskeleton in case of arthropods. And it is made up of the chemical chitin. Chitin is a structural polysaccharide. Polysaccharides are of two types, structural polysaccharide and functional polysaccharide. Those which go into the formation of structures like exoskeleton, etc. are called structural polysaccharides. Chitin is one such structural polysaccharide. So, heteronomous metamerism, chitinous exoskeleton, and joint appendages. Arthras means joints, poda means legs. That's how the name arthropoda is derived. Basically, it's a Greek word. So, joint appendages, these three characters are the salient features, diagnostic characters of the animals which belong to the phylum Arthropoda. And please note the evolutionary acquisition of these traits in due course of evolution is known as arthropodization. Okay, arthropodization. Now with this background and introduction, let us study the general characters of the phylum Arthropoda. Okay. Now, arthropods occur in all types of habitats. Some of them are marine, some of them are freshwater, some of them are terrestrial and whatnot. Since they have conquered all different types of habitats and niches, they happen to be the most successful animals on this earth, constituting about 83% of the total animals known to date. Okay. Then, there is an increasing tendency of cephalization. Cephalization is the phenomenon of formation of head. Anterior few segments go together or group together to form a structure called head, and this process is known as cephalization. And when you come to arthropods, for the first time, there is an increasing tendency of cephalization or cephalization, you can call both the ways. So this is one more character what you have to remember when you are talking about general characters. Cephalization is a very important concept. Okay. Then, so as I have told you, the body is metamerically segmented. That means it consists of a linear series of segments or the somites. You have seen few arthropods and you would have observed the segmentation also, right? Then, externally, exoskeleton is divided into hardened segmental sclerites. I told you they exhibit exoskeleton, and the exoskeleton shows segmental divisions and it is called sclerite. Okay. Then, internally also the soft parts, namely nervous system, muscular system, heart chambers, etc., they are segmentally repeated, once again hinting that they are metamerically segmented. Then, as I have already told you, metamerism is heteronomous and segments and appendages, you know, they are specialized for different varied functions. Alright. Arthropods are characterized by tagmases. Here is a new word for you to know. One more question. Arthropods are characterized by tagmosses. What do you mean by tagmosses? It's not there in the slide, note down. Tagmosses refers to specialized grouping of multiple segments. Let me repeat. Tagmosses refers to specialized grouping of multiple segments or metameres into a coherently functional morphological unit. Okay. Head, thorax and abdomen are those three morphological units in case of arthropods. So, arthropods exhibit tagmosses. That means segments in the anterior region go into the formation of head. Then followed by that, few more segments or metameres go into the formation of thorax. And last few segments go into the formation of abdomen. So there are typically three tagmata: head, thorax and abdomen. Tagma singular, tagmata plural. This is one new concept what you have to understood. Please do remember this term, tagmosses. Arthropods are characterized by tagmosses. Then appendages are joined, hence the name Arthropoda. And these appendages act as lever systems, providing mechanical advantages for locomotion, that is movement. Okay. Then muscles of arthropods are striated. That means by now you know there are three types of muscles, right? So here what type of muscles you find? Striated muscles. Okay. Then in the next slide I'll be discussing few more characters of arthropods. Okay. Then we shall talk about body wall. Body wall is muscular and it consists of a cuticle made up of the chemical chitin. Hence the name chitinous cuticle. Okay. Please note, this cuticle is one of the key features for the success of the arthropods on this earth. It offers protection, prevents loss of body fluids, and since it is exoskeleton, growth is limited in arthropods. So the limited growth takes place by a process what is known as molting. So molting is seen in arthropods to facilitate the growth. So every time the animal grows, the exoskeleton is thrown out, shed off, and this process of shedding of the exoskeleton is called molting. The very purpose of molting is to facilitate the growth. Okay, this is one more concept what you have to remember in arthropods. So it undergoes molting, that is especially the chitinous exoskeleton, to facilitate the growth. Otherwise, there is no way that the body size can increase. Alright, then we should talk about the coelom. Coelom is reduced. Why? Because it's a shift from fluid internal skeleton to a solid external skeleton. When there is a shift from fluid internal skeleton to a solid external skeleton, quite natural that coelom is reduced. And by now, I think you know what is coelom because you must have studied this in your previous semester. So coelom is the body cavity or the space lined externally and internally both by mesoderm. Okay, just a reminder for you. Now, coelom is associated with gonads and saccate nephridia in arthropods. Gonads means reproductive organs. Saccate nephridia. Nephridia, you know, they are excretory structures. Maybe what you don't know is saccate. Saccate means what? Sac-like or pouch-like structures are called saccate. Okay. So the coelom is associated with gonads and sac-like nephridia. And most of these small coelomic spaces which appear during development now, they do get vanished or obliterated along with the blastocoel and contribute to the formation of a major coelomic cavity called hemocoel. One more question. So major coelomic cavity, big one, is called hemocoel. Otherwise, you see some coelomic pouches become excretory organs and gonads. And then hemocoel is the functional body cavity which remains filled with blood. Okay. So you have to talk about the status of coelom in quite detail when you are talking about general characters of arthropods. Hope it's clear. Then let us talk about the digestive system or alimentary canal. It consists of three regions: anterior foregut, middle midgut, and posterior hindgut. Foregut is responsible for ingestion of food, storage of food, and trituration of food. Yeah, what is trituration? Trituration, I mean grinding. Okay. So foregut is responsible for ingestion, storage, and trituration. Midgut helps in the secretion of enzymes needed for digestion of food and to bring about the process of digestion. And the last part, that is hindgut, is responsible for the formation of feces, that is undigested food material and resorption of water. Okay. So this is about alimentary canal. Then what about respiration? In very small arthropods like crustaceans, exchange of respiratory gases takes place through the general body surface. All over the body, exchange of respiratory gases takes place. However, in large aquatic arthropods, you see gills and book gills. Okay, gills and book gills in large aquatic arthropods. Whereas terrestrial arthropods, they respire either through the trachea, as you see in case of insects, and book lungs. Okay, as you see in case of scorpions. So you do find general body surface, gills, book gills, trachea, and book lungs serving for the purpose of exchange of gases, that is respiration. Alright. Then what about circulatory system? It is of open type. What do you mean by open type of circulatory system? The blood channels or the vessels abruptly open into big spaces called sinuses. Okay, you don't find capillaries like arterioles and venules which join together so that all the time the blood flows in closed system. When it is called a closed type of circulatory system, such a thing is not seen in arthropods. The blood channels abruptly open into sinuses, and this type of blood vascular system is known as open type of circulatory system. Heart is dorsal in position. Then you do find a respiratory pigment. The way we have hemoglobin, arthropods have hemocyanin. Don't forget, one more question. Hemocyanin, and our hemoglobin has iron, whereas hemocyanin has copper. Okay, tamra irutte, and therefore it is blue in color. Okay, and however hemoglobin do occurs in few arthropods, but major respiratory pigment is hemocyanin containing copper and that gives a bluish tinge to the pigment. Okay, this is about circulatory system. Then second, nephridia in the form of coxal glands and green glands form major excretory organs of aquatic arthropods. So in aquatic arthropods you find coxal glands, green glands, okay, as excretory structures. In terrestrial arthropods like cockroaches, insects, etc., Malpighian tubules form the excretory structures. If you cut open a cockroach, more or less in the junction of midgut and hindgut, you find yellow colored tubular structures. They are nothing but Malpighian tubules. Dear students, please note the spelling, Malpighi. Don't make it Phigi. It is not Malpighian, it is Malpighian. Okay? Don't write wrong spellings. So, in terrestrial arthropods, Malpighian tubules are the characteristic feature. Okay? Malpighian tubules. Some arthropods do have nephridia and Malpighian tubules both as excretory structures. You have separate chapters like respiration in Arthropoda, excretion in Arthropoda. There you will learn about these organs in detail. Alright? Right now for general characters you know this much. Okay? Then nervous system consists of a nerve ring and as usual ganglionated double ventral nerve cord. Please note in all invertebrates you do find a ventral nerve cord. Okay. So, nervous system is in the form of a nerve ring and ganglionated double ventral nerve cord. So, sense organs are in the form of compound eyes, simple eyes, also called ocelli, okay, antennae, statocysts, etc. Compound eyes and simple eyes are photoreceptor structures. Antennae are sensitive to touch. Statocysts are concerned with the maintenance of body equilibrium. So you have to talk about sense organs whenever you talk about nervous system. Then, most of the arthropods are unisexual. That means you find a separate male and female individuals. Fertilization may be external or internal in aquatic arthropods. If they are aquatic, fertilization can be external or internal. But please note, in all terrestrial forms, by rule, fertilization is internal. Please note this. Then, you find the centrolecithal type of eggs. This you will learn more when you come to final year BSc when you are studying developmental biology. Centrolecithal means the yolk is concentrated in the central region of the egg. So, eggs are centrolecithal. Cleavage is meroblastic and superficial. Again, you will know more in your developmental biology class. Development is direct or indirect. If the egg hatches out into an individual that almost resembles the adult, morphologically it is called direct development. If the larval stages are involved, like prawn, it is called indirect development. And then, like annelids, they also show teloplastic growth. Here is a new term, teloplastic growth. What do you mean by that? Teloblast is a large cell in the embryo which asymmetrically divide to form many smaller cells called as blast cells. Okay? Teloblast is a large cell in the embryo which asymmetrically divide to form many smaller cells known as blast cells. And these blast cells further proliferate and differentiate to form segmental tissues. And this type of growth, which is characteristic feature of annelids, is seen in arthropods also, and it is called teloplastic growth. Okay, hope I have made myself clear. After knowing the general characters of the phylum Arthropoda, now it is the time for us to know the classification. Okay, let's see. There are different views concerning their phylogeny. So, there is no absolute system of classification of this phylum. But what I have done is, most accepted classification I have given here. Alright. In earlier days, they simply used to tell Phylum Arthropoda is divided into 4 classes. Class Onychophora, class Crustacea, class Insecta, like this. Okay. But now there is different type of classification. So 7 subphyla are included in this phylum. But whatever it is, only 3 subphyla, namely Trilobita, Chelicerator and Mandibulata are definitively arthropods. So students, regarding classification, you may find different versions in different textbooks. The older one just tells that Phylum Arthropoda is divided into 4 classes. Alright. But since it is quite old, I am giving the most accepted one and little latest one. Okay. So don't get confused. Any confusions? You can always talk to me when you come to offline classes or meet me in the labs or in my staff room. Okay. Don't get confused about classification of Arthropoda, reading different textbooks, because there are different views regarding the phylogeny of arthropods, which forms the basis for the classification of any phylum. Okay. Now, yeah, here is the chart telling you about the classification of Arthropoda. So, Phylum Arthropoda, as I have told you, is divided into 3 subphyla: Trilobita, Chelicerator and Mandibulata. Trilobita, Chelicerator and Mandibulata. Trilobita includes all extinct species like Triarthros, etc. So, the extant species have been put under the 2 subphyla, Chelicerator and Mandibulata. Alright. Now further, subphylum Chelicerator is divided into 2 classes. One class is Xiphisura. Xiphisura, to which the king crab or the limulus belong, which you are going to learn in your practical class. And second class is Arachnida. Arachnida includes, okay, Palemneus, that is scorpion, Chelo, then Arena, that is spider. So, Chelicerator includes 2 classes, Xiphisura and Arachnida. Then the third subphylum is Mandibulata, which includes 4 classes, Crustacea, exemplified by Pelemon, that is prawn, and Balanus. And one more class is Khailopoda, which includes all centipedes, Scolopendra and Scutigira. Scolopendra is the regular one what you see inside the houses in villages. Scutigira are the garden centipedes. Okay. So then one more class is Diplopoda, which includes all millipedes like Julius, you must have seen. Please note, earlier Khailopoda and Diplopoda were put under a separate class, that is Meerapoda. Now that concept is gone. Therefore, I am telling you repeatedly, there are different views regarding the classification of Phylum Arthropoda. Okay. Then, fourth class is Hexapoda, which includes all insects like Musca, that is Nona, then Lepisma, that is silverfish. Okay. So, this is the chart which depicts the most accepted classification of arthropods. Now, in the lecture, I have not given the salient features of each class and each subphylum, which I have given in my study material, which I am going to mail it to you or supply it to you. So, regarding classification, you remember this chart. Okay. Then, so this is about general characters of Phylum Arthropoda and classification up to the level of classes with examples. And now, regarding questions, in the study material, at the end I have given few questions which you need to answer in the blue book and submit it to me when you come to offline classes. Alright. If you want to know more about this topic, you can always refer the Invertebrate Zoology by R.L. Kotpal or Invertebrate Zoology by Jordan and Verma or by S.N. Prasad. But don't read classification and get confused. If you want to log on to some websites, you can always go to studyandscore.com, toppers.com, byju's.com, okay, and know more about this. So, this is what I wanted to teach you today the first topic. Alright? Then, thank you students for your patient listening. Thanks a lot. Any queries, you can contact me when you come to offline classes, or you can write down all your doubts on a piece of paper and bring it to me, or you can contact me through WhatsApp or even phone call. Okay? Thank you so much for your patient listening.